Why fast food is panicking over higher prices now. I think somebody made a post about that, and then Arizona Tea replied saying that their teas are still 99 cents. And then I went to my corner store and I looked at the Arizona tea prices and it was $5. They lied to me.
There's been a lot of talk online and in the news about how much fast food.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just Canadian dollar. You know, we have monopoly dollar here, so yeah.
Food prices have gone up over the recent years.
Once home to the dollar menu, prices at the Golden Arches leaving a bad taste in the mouth of consumers who just want value.
Some restaurants are continuing with price hikes, while others are
Chipotle.
getting desperate with attempts to offer more deals in hopes of increasing traffic.
Restaurants don't cut prices for fun. Did consumers essentially force your hand by being fed up?
Customers are telling us that they're really stretched.
Now, we all know inflation has been rampant since the beginning of 2020.
How many vids are in queue right now? It's not about queue. People need to upvote your video for it to be in the top 10, and then I just like kind of watch like the top, and every 10 minutes it refreshes. Yeah, I mean, the prices of stuff always goes up, right? Like there's a normal, there's like a normal in price because prices are never going to stay the same. And then there's sometimes where the trajectory really just goes way over the normal inflation limit. And I think that part is where it becomes really a problem.
When the pandemic happened.
Grocery prices in some cases are
autoplay?
falling.
I think it's
Fast
off.
food prices are rising.
They turned it back on. I thought I turned it off since last time. Yeah, the Costco hot dogs are still the same price, but last time I went, or I didn't go, my father went, they don't have the jalapeno like buffet like they did. I used to put a bunch of jalapeno on top of my hot dog, and now you can't do that anymore. And that was a big selling point for me.
And these CEOs, they know it. They're hearing these complaints.
But what's really going on here? I mean, are fast food companies trying to pull a fast one on us, price gouging under the cover of inflation?
Fast food places in general, y'all better watch.
Yeah.
You got.
Yeah, the price gouging is... It's like, bitch, there's not even real meat in your burger patty. I'm not eating like an Angus steak here. Why is the meal like 20 bucks?
Goddamn ass.
Is this just plain old corporate greed like many have claimed?
Who told y'all was that good to be charging that much for y'all food?
Or is there more to this story?
Fast food used to mean inexpensive.
Going viral, the Big Mac meal priced at $18 at a Connecticut rest stop.
Well, in this video, I'm going to try to get to the bottom of it. Wikipedia defines price gouging as a pejorative term used to refer to the practice of increasing the prices.
Don't ever go to the McDonald's in Disneyland. That shit is expensive as fuck.
Of goods, services, or commodities to a level much higher than is considered reasonable or fair by some. This commonly applies to the price increases of basic necessities after natural disasters. Usually this event occurs after a demand or supply shock, like say a global pandemic. Harvard Business School says there's no rule for what qualifies as price gouging, but it's not an uncommon occurrence. For example, EpiPen costs and Uber price surges are both examples of price increases that have been considered unfair.
I hate Uber Eats. They always price gouge just so they have Nicki Minaj in their fucking ads.
But what's the difference between price gouging and inflation? While price gouging is often the result of a business decision, inflation is a general increase in the prices of goods and services over time and is directly impacted by the market. And while 40 states across the country have laws in place to ban price gouging, there is currently no federal price gouging prohibition. And this makes it a difficult thing to enforce because so many supply chains are nationwide. And as a result, states face heightened challenges when trying to protect consumers from price gouging.
Texas banned price gouging? That's based.
So in my opinion, price gouging is a rather nebulous concept. It often lacks clear-cut depictions, and it's not only a practical question, but also a moral one. However, with this fast food dilemma, it's not just about high prices here. It's also about prices that seem disconnected from costs and the actual products themselves. So whether specific fast food companies have engaged in price gouging is up for debate. What certainly isn't is how much prices have increased over the years. And the real question then becomes, is it justified? Finance Buzz released a staggering report on fast food prices over the last decade, and it showed some very interesting stats, claiming McDonald's is king when it comes to price hikes over the years. citing a
Jeez.
100% increase to their prices from 2014 to 2024. Now, to understand how we got here, let's just rewind for a second. Fast
My
food in its
God.
early days was built on two core promises: speed and affordability. Now, with its initial success, it really started to become a symbol of American culture. What the food may have lacked in quality,
where's the
it
dollar
ultimately
menu?
made up with cheaper prices and the convenience of getting it quickly. However, today, the same can't be said. It's not breaking news, but
It was like a, get it under 5 minutes or you get it for free kind of deal.
fast
Now I don't
food is
do that
rarely
anymore.
fast anymore, and it's becoming pretty expensive for what the quality is. Now, over the last 2 decades, rising costs have hit the industry hard. Real estate prices, minimum wage increases, and supply chain inefficiencies started driving up costs. Add to that the increase in costs of beef, chicken, potatoes, along with paper products, and suddenly the simple, cheap burger wasn't so cheap to make anymore. These changes laid the groundwork for the price hikes that we're seeing today, but they only tell part of the story. What's happening now feels different, like something has fundamentally shifted.
Oh, I'm sorry. Could you put her on, please?
Dude, this is a Wendy's restaurant.
Kevin. Okay.
But I have to keep it real. It's not
The
just the
Office is
rise in
timeless.
costs that are part of doing business. It's also factors like increases to advertising spend, ballooning executive compensation packages,
Yeah.
along with significant investments into technology, like mobile apps for these companies. Oh, and of course, stock buybacks, returning billions of dollars to shareholders. But don't just take my word for it. Let's look at some of the numbers. According to the Federal Reserve's economic data, food away from home, which is the category that includes fast food, this rose roughly 28.5% over the last 5 years. But general overall inflation rose only 24%.
Aha!
Now, at a first
Yeah, that's what I was
glance, these
talking
price
about at the beginning of the video. That
hikes might seem like a logical reaction to the rising costs of inflation. But let's dig a bit deeper. While the cost of doing business has increased, profit margins at many major chains have held steady or even grown. Take McDonald's, for instance. Despite facing higher expenses, their operating margins climbed to nearly 46% in 2023, up from around 41% in 2019. Now, that's not just covering costs, that's thriving. And if you don't think operating margin is the best indicator to decide this, let's look at their net profit margin. It's gone up from 28% right before the pandemic hit, all the way up to over 33% in 2024. Now, this has led McDonald's to begin to take some drastic measures to try to convince customers they not only aren't being greedy, but also that they still can provide value with their menu. But more on that in a moment. This pattern isn't unique to McDonald's, though. Chipotle has
true, he does look like a clean-shaven Asmongold. Like if Asmongold had his shit together, he'd look like him, like in another timeline.
reported record revenues fueled by menu price increases of nearly 15%.
Dude, I remember I used to watch like documentaries on economics, like in the United States and stuff, and like the poor people, they say they would like bring their kids to McDonald's because it cost cheaper than just making food at home. But you could not imagine that today. That'd be crazy. Like grocery you always get more value from it.
Over the last 2 years. In fact, during the making of this video, they just announced another 2% price increase to their menu, which brings the total number of price hikes to 7 times since 2021. And Chipotle technically isn't fast food and is more in the category of fast casual dining, but they still are a part of that food.
Wait, that's Chipotle? It's like Tex-Mex wraps? I've never had Chipotle.
From home stat that I provided from the Federal Reserve. And so we can still learn a lot about their recent financial performance over the years. Chipotle's net margin is higher now than ever before and has been steadily climbing since the pandemic.
I've never heard
However,
of it.
the margins
No,
did tank.
I mean, sorry, I've heard of it. I've never like seen one. Oh, it's a burrito bat. Yeah, I don't like how they put rice in them though. I feel like they just want to stuff you with carbs.
Before the pandemic due to foodborne illness issues the company was facing. But if we also look at their revenue,
I like real Mexican food, like authentic one. I love that. I hate the Tex-Mex stuff. If you're not the carbs, Chipotle is good. I know people love Chipotle. I thought it'd be like some kind of burger joint with like Chipotle sauce. So they don't even have Chipotle sauce in there. I think we have like fake Chipotles here. They're like probably called something else. I've had one of those big burritos. It was like we were full after like half of it. It's like all right.
revenue and net income, that has also been rising steadily since the last quarter of 2020. And here's the kick.
No, I thought, do you assume our food places are burger? No, I don't. I don't assume they're all burger. It just sounds, well, it would sound either like a fried chicken place, kind of like Chick-fil-A. That's how I pictured it. Or maybe a burger joint with like, they had like a, I thought they would have like a signature Chipotle sauce.
Kicker. Chipotle's former CEO, Brian Niccol, earned over $17 million in 2022 and over $22 million in 2023. Including significant bonuses.
Why does he look like he has Botox in his cheeks? Look at that. Look at that. You can make like an anime character of him. He has such like defined features.
And over $22 million in 2023, including significant bonuses tied to the company's profitability. This is over 1,300 times the median pay of a Chipotle worker. Now, whether you think the CEO is worth 1,300 times the average worker or not, it's clear that they are making more money now than ever before. And Chipotle also just announced in July that they were authorizing a $400 million stock buyback program, essentially funneling excess cash back to shareholders instead of, I don't know, reinvesting it into operations or finding out ways to keep prices stable. Additionally, Yum Brands, which owns Taco Bell, KFC, and Pizza Hut, instituted price hikes in 2023.
Bro, KFC is so not good anymore. It's disgusting.
And cited that it was a
and even pizza, like I ordered one the other day and I felt gross after. I was like, yeah, I'm not ordering more pizza.
last resort option, while later that year clocking in a 21% increase in total revenue over its pre-pandemic earnings. Now, since then, executives at the company have authorized a $2 billion share repurchase program, returning $678 million to its shareholders. Now, there's no secret here.
Imagine being a worker in one of these chains. You're getting paid minimal wage. You work like a dog, and then knowing that the CEO or whatever, like the high-ranking officers there, they're getting paid millions, and they get to work remotely. Wow, it is just mind-blowing.
That greater amounts of capital are being redirected to corporate-level costs, such as C-level executive compensation. Now, critics argue that inflation has become a convenient excuse for these price hikes. Yes, labor and ingredient costs are up, but why are executive salaries?
There's a lot of people that go through life and they're like satisfied with the things they have and they'd be okay with it. But I couldn't help feeling angry. I'd feel frustrated.
Soaring at the same time. Why are companies increasing ad budgets and launching multi-million-dollar stock buybacks while citing higher costs as the reason for passing price?
That's also what's happening to game industry these days. Shareholders are just cannibalizing the corporate law.
What do you mean, Kiwasa? You mean they're like they keep doing the stocks buyback, so they're just keep cycling the money there instead of reinvesting into the games and the developments? Rima wants to be CEO. True. I want to be the CEO of like an evil corporation, like in Final Fantasy 14 or something. That's like has like a secret base where we do testings on clones or something crazy. We need to think of something crazy for my enterprise mission.
Increases onto consumers. Now, in some cases, the numbers suggest these companies are taking advantage of inflationary pressures to pad their profits. In fact, a recent analysis from the Economic Policy Institute found that corporate profits accounted for over 40% of price increases across several industries during the pandemic recovery period. Now, while fast food isn't singled out in this analysis, it does seem to fit into this broader trend. This narrative has led to a huge disconnect from corporations to their consumers.
I mean, ew, carbs. Get that away from me. I don't want it. You know, I received some A&W coupon, and I must announce that I've been very, very disciplined, and I threw away the coupons. Yeah, because I am not going there. No, A&W, you cannot summon me back. I won't take a step in your establishment.
Particularly around
We're
pricing
done.
And the value propositions they offer. But the interesting thing here is some of these companies are faring much better than others. Chipotle, for example, is continuing to grow in spite of their price hikes, and they also historically haven't offered any sort of value meal. While restaurants like McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, Taco Bell, and others are all trying to entice customers by trying to add more value deals to their menus. But of course, fast food chains have their side of the story too. They argued that these price hikes are a necessity not some evil choice. And their executives have pointed to some real pressures: rising wages, volatile supply chains, and of course inflation, as reasons why fast food just isn't as cheap as it used to be. Now, back in May of 2024, social media posts about an $18 Big Mac meal went so viral that McDonald's actually had to begin a campaign trying to debunk some of the myths that were being spread about their prices. Remember this graph from earlier? Yeah, well, McDonald's disagrees with a lot of it. The nuance behind this is that while data on its own is rather objective, the way in which data can be presented often is very subjective, including this video here. However, in their blog post, McDonald's cited bits of information from the article labeling them as myths, like, quote, McDonald's raised prices at a rate nearly double the national rate of
Who reads the McDonald's blog? Like the McDonald's superfans?
inflation. And over in their facts section, trying to combat this, they mentioned that over the last 5 years, prices have increased around 40% due to higher input costs such as salaries, food, and paper products. And while that may be very well true, the article cites McDonald's menu prices have doubled 100% since 2014 across popular items, the highest of any chain we analyzed. But okay, let's just assume McDonald's was confused on this, and they cited from 2019 on as opposed to what the article says, which is 2014. So what about another myth? Well, once again, McDonald's cites the article quoting, McDonald's medium fries have increased by 138% since 2019. But McDonald's claims the truth is the average price of a medium fry in 2019 was $2.29, and now in 2024, the average price is $3.29. Okay, well, the article actually says that the 138% increase is from 2014 to 2024, not 2019. Now, I could go on, but I think you're starting to get the point. Okay, but there are some who argue that rising wages are really the one to blame for high menu prices, claiming this trend of increased minimum wage could lead to job losses and widespread restaurant closures. However, the evidence suggests otherwise. Economists at the Economic Policy Institute have extensively researched this issue and found that higher wages would likely have the opposite effect, modestly stimulating consumer demand, boosting business activity, and creating job growth. Okay, but what about fast food prices? Are they rising because of higher wages? Well, yes, but not entirely for the reasons you might think.
Okay.
Price increases in the fast food industry are part of a long-standing trend, not a sudden phenomenon caused by wage hikes. Because while the consumer price index for all items rose by 3.2% between April 2022 and April 2023, fast food prices surged 5.2%, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Meanwhile, the cost of groceries increased by only 1% during that time. But that was then,
It
and
doesn't
this is
feel
now,
that way.
and fast food has been getting desperate over the last year. McDonald's has had to really try to entice customers with their nationwide $5 value meal, and many competitors have followed suit. Burger King offered their $5 meal, Wendy's did a $4 meal deal, and Taco Bell launched a
Yeah, that's right. Undercut each other.
$3 value deal, all in an attempt to increase traffic to their stores. Now, it's clear they have a real problem on their hands, not only in terms of general sentiment around their value propositions, but also in regards to pricing. But fast food companies...
Yo, wait, what is this? Are these supposed to be potatoes? Or are they like flat egg rolls? I don't get what this is supposed to be. They look so weird.
Around their value propositions,
Food
but also in
cubes.
regards to pricing. But fast food companies also have to reckon with fast casual offerings eating away at their market share. Chipotle, Kava, and Sweetgreen have all reported a much different outlook on this matter. And while yes, they typically attract a higher income cohort, it's not
Honestly, why can't we have like salads drive-through or smoothie drive-throughs? I would go to that. I would use that every day.
only them that are buying these products. Kava, the Mediterranean chain, only raised prices 12% from 2019 to 2023. And
You
as a
guys
result,
have
they
them?
reported
You guys have, I must go to the lands of America.
increases to their top and bottom lines. Now, of course, they have a much smaller footprint than McDonald's, but when that Big Mac is contesting the prices of some of these fast casual offerings, it seems like an inevitable shift is bound to occur here. And even casual sit-down restaurants like Applebee's and Chili's are getting involved into this value war. Chili's 3 for Me meal deal for $10.99 has created a resurgence in traffic to their restaurants, resulting in their foot traffic soaring 33%, which capped off 6 straight months of increases.
Wow, that was
so
good.
are higher prices just the costs of doing business? I don't see how one could come to that conclusion with how much profits have increased over the last 5 years for most of these chains. To me, this does seem like some good old-fashioned corporate greed, masked in layers of manipulation and excuses. And now for fast food places.
I mean, if they get to offer the $5 meals, that means they can afford it. Or trust me, they wouldn't be doing that. For
like
sure.
McDonald's, Burger King, and others, customers not only have to battle with higher prices, but also with the lack of convenience and quality of the food itself. Because at the end of the day, when all is said and done, infinite growth is the goal. And the fiduciary duty to shareholders comes before customers, employees, suppliers, or vendors. But it is really interesting to see how some companies simply choose to operate differently while still achieving success. If you want to learn about a prime example, I covered the story of Costco and the interesting approach they've taken to capitalism. You can learn about it here. Thanks so much for watching.
That looks like an interesting video to watch. Hey, you! Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that bell button, and I'll see you in the next video.